Picture this, Semarang, Indonesia, 2006. Our story explodes onto the scene with Nisa, whose dad, Bhakti, a man clearly fueled by strong coffee and even stronger principles, bursts into her room. Homework's the topic, folks, and Nisa's begging for water and dinner. But Bhakti's got a wisdom bomb ready to drop. Tired from studying is way better than swallowing the bitter pill of ignorance. He lays down the law, homework first. No shortcuts. Poor Nisa is left in tears, Bhakti's harsh words ringing in her ears like a badly tuned gamelan orchestra as she flees to her tent. Ouch. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is a roller coaster. Our heroine returns, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, only to find her room unlocked. The suspense is killer. She races to find her friend Nisa, but the room's a ghost town. Panic sets in, she bursts outside and gasps. Nisa, plummeting from the roof like a very unfortunate superhero. The image is horrific, impaled. 10 years flash forward, and we meet Maya, Feta, and Amir, academic underachievers facing the wrath of their tea-loving lecturer, BTI. They try to dodge him, but he's on to them. 15 minutes to the principal's office. Maya drops a bombshell, BTI's daughter, suicide. Feta's jaw drops, and then, the twist, his wife. An accident, apparently. An accident that left him needing a walking stick. Yikes. Amelia swoops in, have you met Bhakti yet? Maya's like, dude, we've been waiting to meet your nemesis together. We're terrified. Bhakti, 20 years of teaching experience under his belt, drops the bomb. They're the only ones to ever fail his class. His disappointment? Epic. How am I supposed to face the others? He wails. But wait, there's hope. A short semester course, starting Monday at 5:30 p.m. Amelia pipes up, isn't that a little late? Bhakti, ever the master of scheduling, corrects her, 7 p.m. sharp. The boys nod, defeated. He turns to the girls, any problems? A hesitant, no, escapes their lips. As they flee, Amelia finds a stray teddy bear and hands it to Bhakti, a bizarre, almost tender moment. Next day, Maya's dad's on the warpath. Graduate. I said graduate. Poor Maya's already spiraling into a full-blown panic attack. Whoa, this is a roller coaster. Our girl's hitting the antidepressants after a serious attack, yikes. Then, bam, Bhakti, our guy, is grabbing his own meds at the hospital. Dude's clearly not feeling so hot. He's dodging near-death experiences left and right, a biker nearly takes him out, then another close call with a rickshaw. But wait, there's more. Teddy bear drama. He bends down to rescue his furry friend, and, splat. A truck. He's dragged away. Meanwhile, the gang's all wondering why Bhakti was so late, 5 minutes to spare. The suspense is killing them. Maya's buzzing about Bhakti pushing his daughter to suicide, grilling Amir about it. It's a wild ride, post-studying, locked in a room, no food, no water, this is getting intense. Amelia's facing the wrath of Bhakti, severely punished if her work isn't done. She's terrified, she doesn't know what to do. Maya thinks it's hilarious, Bhakti lectures them on behavior, yet his needs a major overhaul. An hour crawls by, Amir's bailing, but others want to wait. Just as he's leaving, bam, Bhakti's cane, they scramble back, feigning enthusiasm. Good evening, sir, he mutters, then drops the bomb, 2 more hours of detention. Maya's phone buzzes, a chilling text, Bhakti's in an accident, dead. 5:37, the blood runs cold, check the group chat, she screams, this is insane. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is wild. Maya hands Fida her mirror, bam. He drops his pen, peering down in absolute horror as he sees Bhakti's feet, floating. He's a ghost, Fida shouts, and just then, the lights flicker, revealing Bhakti's spectral form. Maya buckets outer there. The others are about to follow, but Bhakti's chilling voice stops them dead. Where do you think you're going? Amelia stammers about it being late, but Bhakti's reply is pure nightmare fuel. Then, Fida spins around to see Bhakti, towering over them, head practically touching the ceiling. Run, he screams. Outside, a frantic Maya spills the beans to Zal, then urges Amelia to warn Zinal, but the guards already heading off, leaving them all to their ghostly fate. Buckle up, buttercups, because this is a wild ride. Our crew's heading to BT's wake, a somber affair, unless you count the impending gate-locking drama. They're all in, funeral bound. Then, bam, Amelia overhears a juicy rumor, hit and run. Face destroyed. Spooky silence inside the chapel, until a rogue gust of wind unveils BT's. Well, let's just say fetters, terrifying, sums it up perfectly. Next day, Geeta's all, class resumes, but no ghost stories, please. Maya's insistent, it was a ghost. Geeta's like, honey, BT was already terrifying alive. Your subconscious is playing tricks. Maya's not having it, but Amelia steps in, smoothing things over like a pro. Whoa, Ga hears BTI's voice, literally, a chilling, don't take my students. She whirls around, expecting a showdown, nothing. But wait, his ghostly reflection in the fridge? She checks again, nope, still empty. Then, bam, his spectral form on the table, claiming responsibility for everything. BTI's right behind her. A runaway display case later, and GA is in a world of spooky trouble. The next day, emergency contacts? Zilch. But Amelia remembers photos, a mom, a daughter. Maya sees BTI in the hallway, runs. Amelia investigates, and poof, he's vanished again. This is getting seriously creepy. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is a roller coaster. Maya's sprinting, terrified, pursued by Bhakti's ghost, yes, ghost. When bam, Tay appears, sending her tumbling down the stairs. Her friends swarm, trying to soothe her frantic whispers about Bhakti's spectral chase. Amelia arrives, just as Kiki reminds Maya that Bhakti's, well, deceased. But Maya's adamant. Then, the rug gets pulled out from under them. Geeta's in a coma. They race to the hospital, Maya suggesting a group prayer for Bhakti's restless spirit and Geeta's recovery. Amir cracks a joke about Maya's penchant for the paranormal, sound familiar, fetter? But Amelia cuts in with a brilliant idea. Let's get Sarif involved. They spill the beans, ghosts, comas, the whole shebang, and Sarif suggests a private prayer session. Phew, what a ride. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get spooktacular. They've got a secret, shush. Can't let anyone know, or the whole campus will think it's haunted. Turns out, it's all in their heads, or so they think. Then, bam, a spooky evening, prayers, flickering lights, a howling wind, and suddenly, Bact's ghost is right there. Seriously, right there. They think maybe Bact's trying to send a message. Maya's convinced they messed up by leaving the classroom that night, just like Bact's daughter, who disobeyed and paid the ultimate price. Amir scoffs, but then Maya reminds him, dude, you saw Bacte chase me. And what kind of suggestion puts Geeta's in a coma? Suddenly, a ghostly whisper, Amelia, chills them to the bone. And then, a relieved sigh, it's just us two. Phew. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this gets wild. Bhakti screams Emir's name, then bam. Fata BT's voice booms, ordering everyone to study. Poor Maya's terrified, wailing, I don't wanna die. Amelia, ever the cool head, reassures her, no one's kicking the bucket tomorrow. Then, she quizzes her mom about ghosts, classic. Mom drops some wisdom about unfinished business and wandering spirits. Amelia dives into the digital abyss, uncovering a shocking article about BT's daughter's suicide, a death shrouded in silence. Suddenly, a memory flashes, Bacte scolding Emir, BTI eyeing Amelia's bag, muttering, Nissa. A neighbor's statement pops up, Nissa, always studying, never allowed to play. Could that be the key to understanding Nissa's tragic end? The suspense is killer. Amelia's got a backache, a serious backache. Then, bam, neighbor Tatanga drops a bombshell. Nissa's dead, suicide. Apparently, the whole town's in on it. And BTI, just teaching and heading home, sounds like a recipe for a ghost story. Tatanga's convinced this strange man's spirit isn't exactly chilling out in the afterlife. Meanwhile, Amir's creeping around Fat's room, like a ninja in pajamas. Fat's reading comics, blissfully unaware. Suddenly, campus-wide blackout. Fat grabs his phone, heads for the door. Slam! It's locked. He yells for Amir, gone. Stop joking around. Fat cries, but then, gasp, a ghostly figure by the curtain. Spooky. Amir, meanwhile, is trying to brighten things up with a candle, but will it be enough? Whoa, the lights go out. Bam, a cane. He's bolting, but the door slams shut. He whips out his phone, flashlight blazing, and holy moly, a book's flying. Then, whoosh, books are attacking him. He dives for cover, scrabbling for his phone, and sees legs. Bacte's there. Just then, F bursts in, yanking him to safety. Meanwhile, Maya's hearing Bacte's creepy voice in her head. She's making a run for it, but the door's locked. She races back, locks her room, only to find herself back in the hallway. And there he is, Bacte, cane swinging. Terrified, Maya's sprinting, but bam, Bacte's there. She tries to escape, but it's like a horror movie. Bacte's everywhere. Poor Maya trips, a total disaster, and oh no, spikes herself on a pillar. Meanwhile, Amelia's at Bacte's place, peering in, and thwack. A photo falls. Spooky. Then, ring, ring. It's Emir, breaking the news. Maya's gone. Everyone's outside, heartbroken. They're in Maya's room, finding her meds. Whoa, we didn't know about those. Guilt trip, major style. Then Amelia spots Maya's notebook, a drawing of Bacte's face. And just as they're all processing that, Aaron emerges. Whoa, Room and Fata, totally freaked, are like, we shouldn't have skipped class that night. We're cursed. Apparently, Maya's suicide, traumatized by that Bacte, just like them, is the root of all evil. Fata's practically hyperventilating, asking Emir, did you see it too? Emir's all, yeah, totally saw it. Amelia's the voice of reason, or maybe not, saying, hold on, I don't think Maya killed herself. But get this, she links Maya's death to Nissa's fate. Fata's jaw drops. Are you saying we're next? He cries. Amir tries to calm him down, then booms, only Geeta knows the truth. But Amelia's already plotting. Let's raid Bacte's house. And they do. Sneaking in like ninjas, they find a letter. Bacte wrote, I'm fine with never walking again. Eek. Whoa, this accident, leg breaking, mom killing, was totally better than losing you, right? But then poof, you left anyway, all because of me. Wind whips, Amelia jumps, teddy bear discovery. Suspicious packages, snap. Photo op interrupted. Amir sees a ghost, or maybe just a reflection. Spooky. Fata finds a dead phone, but Amelia, oh boy. Amelia's gone full on demonic. Fata's hiding, eyes wide, whispering, creepy. So creepy. He peeks. What's next? Out he sees BTI's ghost. Can you believe it? They bolt, a chaotic stampede, Aaron tripping over Kiki. Kiki's furious, laying into them for their reckless dash. Amelia's questioning the association's help. Seriously, what's the deal? Kiki's all, it's the holidays. Chill out, snowflakes. Dismissing their concerns as utter nonsense. He even throws in the fact that, despite BTI being, a killer, all his students passed, except them. Amelia's exasperated. Does anything make sense to you? Kiki, ever the optimist, or maybe a tad delusional, insists it does. Mrs. Geeta had PTSD, went off her meds, boom. Trauma triggered by BTI's death. Maya, stress, depression, parental pressure, the whole shebang. And get this, Mrs. Geeta's awake. Her son spilled the beans to Kiki. He urges them, don't connect the dots. Baki's furious. His reaction sparks a Kiki-sized explosion of shouting, you know nothing. Emir dives in, shoving a furious Fata aside, while Amelia lays down the law, help us, or get out of our way. Poor F, bawling his eyes out, gets a comic book surprise. Pages flipping by themselves. Horror. He throws it, it slides back. Then Amir sees his cane, moving on its own. Terrified, he tries the door, but the cane vanishes, then reappears behind him. Baki grabs him. Amir's door, a slap to the face, and reality check. Meanwhile, Amelia's praying, and that teddy bear near the mirror? Double trouble. That's the same bear. Across the room, her teddy vanishes poof. Amelia's bewildered. Then, bam, Bacte's voice, urging her to study. But, nobody's there. The door creaks open by itself. Eek. Her mom's sewing machine starts whirring, all by itself. Bacte's ghostly commands freeze her. She tugs the curtain, the lesson's not over. Bacte hisses. She yanks it again, gone. Later, terrified but determined, the trio heads to class. They wait, and wait, then gasp. They see Bacte approaching. A wave of fear, but wait. Whoa, they enter, vanish, just echoing footsteps. Then, gasp, a chalk levitates, writing behavioral modification, spooky. Amir's all brave, ignoring the approaching Bhakti, who's calling his name. Amelia's frozen too, but Fatma screams, runs, chaos. A text reveals Bhakti's tragic backstory, his mom's all he's got. Amir's like, gotta do this, and fast. They escape. But wait, Fatma's back, terrified, making a break for freedom. The door crashes. A terrified scream rips through the air, pure, unadulterated panic. Fatah's sobbing, a river of tears, but wait, what's that? A chalk drawing of Bhakti, slowly, eerily, taking shape on the blackboard. He whips out his phone, flashlight blazing, and, thump, the chalk drops as Bhakti bursts from the drawing. Fatah's babbling apologies are lost in the chaos. Meanwhile, Nurjan drops a bombshell. Since Nisa's death, Bhakti's been blaming himself, a self-flagellating mess. Amelia's jaw drops. You mean, it wasn't his teaching? Flash. A memory. Nurjan offers Nisa biscuits. Nisa leaves. Then, a seizure, a fall, from the balcony. Jennings got the scoop. BTI, the poor sap, thought he deserved a ghostly punishment for Nisa's death. So he's been teaching, talk about a graveyard shift. Meanwhile, Fatah makes a break for it, only to be chased by BT's spectral shadow. Picture this, Fatah's running, he whips around a corner, and bam! Back tears Ghost, growing bigger and scaring the living daylights out of him. He spins around, runs the other way, and guess what? Another ghost. Poor Fatah trips, crawls, and before he can even say, boo, BT's back. He escapes again, but not for long. BTI grabs his leg, ouch, and drags him off. And get this, Amir and Amelia come back, a teddy bear tumbles out the door, and they find Fatah in a corner, strangling himself. Talk about a terrifying twist. Whoa, after a nail-biting moment, he crumples. The lights flicker back on, and bam! F's awake. Amir's all, it's real, guys. This isn't about BTI's dedication, it's his insane ambition that turned him ghostly. They've broken the rules. Twice. Then, boom, BTI's ghost is there, cane swinging. But wait, Amir's actually beating himself up. Amelia dives in, but he throws her like a rag doll. She's up, sees BTI bearing down, and panics. Teddy's gone. BTI's furious, cane at her throat. Nisa's death wasn't your fault, she cries. That just makes BTI even more enraged. He raises his cane. Fury explodes. Amir and Fatah, spinning like dervishes, each convinced the others their nemesis. Blind terror, a whirlwind of blades. Back to back, they're a chaotic ballet of fear, until Amelia's freed. Then, bam, Amir stabs Fatah. Amelia screams, tries to intervene, gets tossed aside like a rag doll. Amir collapses, back's ghost looming. But Amelia, scrubbling, grabs the teddy bear. This isn't your fault, she cries, a voice breaking with emotion. It's our fault. You were a good teacher, a good father. I'm so sorry. Her words, a raw confession, a heartbreaking apology. Back hesitates, remembering her diligence, that spark of Nisa he saw in her. Amelia looks up and sees